The sirens. Now, was that the actual sound? Or was that just like? That's
blending of reality.
I with the show.
That was perfect.
Exactly.
Hey, Doctor. You had a
There were a lot of key elements that were super important that you wanted us to hyper focus on. One was the whip. It's real. I think it was important that it was real. The technique of hitting the ground right in front of them gave you the simulation that you were experiencing it really happening. So like you didn't want it to happen. You know, the screams were so real. You were feeling it like deep inside your lungs, and it was like you were so smart and creative about how you set up the set, about people would be still because we knew that they didn't exist at that moment. Like we were a part of something. And it was like, it was nice to be a part of it, like we were specters, you know, so.
Very convincing. Thank you for the knowledge.
Anything else? Any comments? Any questions for us, I guess? I'm sorry?
Just comments.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have another thing.
No, I hear you.
When you guys are doing this, I started crying because I'm hearing it. I thought it would never happen. So I'm crying. I say, God, why do you allow this? I said that we are sinners. You allow us to suffer. But truly, we need to pray for those people that did this. Because for God to give us forgiving mind. Because I saw it that we are one. When you see a human being, has two hands, you walk, you can do everything like you do, but you get them as something else. So we need to pray for those people.
Yes.
And we ourselves, we teach our children to forgive.
Yes.
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 Please.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So, as the writer and knowing that this is all a part of your history, like what was that emotional journey like writing this? Because I know it kind of, it's still like was tough for me because it's like, damn, like that was someone's reality. Like, what was that like writing?
It was a lot. So I was in my MFA when I wrote it, and I felt like I didn't have creative control over my writing because I was only 3 of 9 African Americans in our group. So no one understood, like, why are you writing a slavery piece? I wrote like other pieces, but they were all predominantly African American. And so I was like, you know what? I was just sitting down one day and I looked at this book, and it was a slave rebellion book. And I called my aunt and I said, I'm writing freedom. And she said, okay, so what are we putting in it? And I said, I don't know. And I was like, wait, do you still know, like, you still speak Swahili, right? She was just like, yeah, put some Swahili in there. And I was like, okay, what else? Like, what else? What other element? She was like, well, we're originally from Ghana, you know that. I actually was 8 years old. I did it twice. So when I was first 8 years old, she took me down to Okolaka, Alabama. I stayed on the plantation. And then I stayed on the plantation the second time when I was 10. So I've been on the plantation that my ancestors were on. So I kind of just went back to that moment, just opening the curtains on the plantation and just seeing everything, knowing like they were really here. I just felt it. So I kind of brought myself back together. But then also she was like, why don't you talk about Father's May? And I'm like, she's like, voodoo. That's what it was called, Father's May. And she was like, before it was Americanized, it was ours. It was nothing negative, but it can be used for bad. Everything that has to do with my culture personally, she was like, you need to put in this. And I cannot honestly say to you, because I wrote the role of mama for her, my aunt recently just passed. And she never missed a show. Blossom, you did her justice. But yeah, it was a journey. They didn't want me to put it on stage. When I actually did it, I did the read-through for my final. They didn't want me to put it on stage. They didn't like it. Mr. Scott back there, he was the first mark. And I called him up and I said, I'm going to do this. I sent him the script. He was like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, we got to do this. And he was like, okay. let's do it. And we did it, and it was very receptive, but it was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of research, a lot of going back. It was emotional, probably 2-3 bottles of wine per page. It was a lot, but it needed to be said, and I felt like I did my ancestors justice.
And just to be clear, I was hesitant about playing Mark. But wow, you know.
You guys aren't the character.
Not at all, no.
I played villains, but that's got to be the worst. Because it's so real. I mean, it happened.
Can I ask you a question? What is it like seeing it without being in the actual play?
It's just as powerful and disturbing, but also so necessary. Especially in this day and age when so many people are denying this happening or downplaying it in certain parts of the country without getting political. But, you know, when they're saying people were migrant workers learning new skills or something, I mean, come on, you know? It's reality, it's our history, you know. And I can't even imagine having your ancestors go through this, what it's like.
And I think it's necessary to do things like this to really capture what happened, because in the end, you develop a better understanding. Like, I feel like doing this, we all got a better understanding of one another. We've developed a family. And the trauma, even though trauma bonding is not good, seeing that from a different perspective and moving ourselves into that character sort of brings barriers down too.
This whole entire cast worked really hard on this play, especially Miss Lee. But I mostly want to give a thanks to Watson because she learned this entire script in less than a week before the first show.
By the way, the person that referred me to this beautiful, so I'm gonna say it again. I feel like, you know, sometimes in life, we need people that lead us, that are strong. So when I first met Dr. D, I said, look at this little woman, what is she doing? She's so strong and powerful, and I played mama, but she's really the mama. She led all of us, and she's teaching the young ones. She's teaching them. This isn't the only project that she's had them in. There's a lot of children that don't get that opportunity to be on stage, to really cultivate artistry. And this woman is doing it, and it's so loving in the way that she does it. And she chastises and she disciplines. I'm taller than her, and she said, you don't need to be going outside during intermission. She is the mama, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
I was going to say to all of you, thank you all for being here, but thank you all for bringing this to life. Like I said, to Blossom, my aunt never missed a show, and her dying wish was to see this, and I think that she's here. I couldn't get her necklace off. I keep trying, but I could not, and I think there was a reason I could not get her necklace off to save my life. She would have been proud. I think she thanks you, and I thank every single one of you with all my family. I really appreciate every single one of you. I really
Yes, the man with the hat in the back.
Not a question, I want to give you some more praise. It was so well written because not only did it hurt me, not only did it make me feel pain, but then you had the moments where you were funny, you know, and you did it just right so that I could swallow it all up because it was real. You know, you get those little gym moments when you're playing with each other and being like really familiar, like really like family, like really felt real. And I wanted to say this, I mean, all of you guys were just right on the money. Just like when it was time to be serious, when it was time to be funny, when you had to freeze, like we all knew you were invisible. Like that's amazing. I mean, like I just really want to say that I don't often go to shows. This is just I really don't. Like I really don't. And I came here and I had a great time. I will come to your next show. I will make sure more people come to that show. You sold me.
I would also like to say something. So the beginning of the show, I started off with a poem, and it's an original piece by me, and I just want to thank my beautiful godmother for allowing me to put my piece into this show. It was very like unexpected, and I just love you for that. And also, Rarity, mine stopped coming off.
That was fun. I tried not to. That was fun. I'm drowning. Well, you're welcome. I told you if you published your book, which does have a published poetry book, you can read whatever. And when I first heard that poem, I said, that's going in the script. I want you to start off. Start off with a bang. I want you to be uncomfortable. And you did that. Yeah.
I heard some of y'all, I see some of y'all faces, you was like, what?
I see them. Okay.
I'm telling poetry outside.
It's great. It's great.
Yes,
It's
amazing.
amazing.
It's really good.
I think it's great.
One thing clear, the sheep is not meant to be like that.
It's fine. It's okay.
Most of them do it outside.
Does anybody have